Thomas and the Magic Railroad. There's a lot of mixed opinions on this movie, but myself, it's definitely my favorite Thomas movie. Regardless of what you think of it, many have taken notice of the appearance of the Strasburg Railroad throughout the film. To narrow it down, I mean Norfolk and Western number 475. But seeing as Strasburg is meant to represent part of Shining Time, why wasn't Union Pacific number 844 used instead, seeing as it was in the intro for Shining Time Station, representing the Rainbow Sun train? Also, why was 475 chosen over any of the other Strasburg steam locomotives? Well, here's how that happened. Before I begin, I'd like to give some background on NNW number 475 as a locomotive. 475 was built at the Baldwin Locomotive Works in June 1906. It was the 101st of 125 M-Class 480 Mastodon engines. Nicknamed Mollies by crews and coming in at a total weight of 399,900 pounds and producing 40,163 pounds of tractive effort, engines like 475 pulled freight drags and coal trains along N&W's system. In fact, they were the go-to mainline freight engines for a time as well. Eventually though, throughout the 1940s and 50s, they'd be displaced to branch lines such as the Abingdon branch by stronger and larger K-Class 482s, J-Class 484s, and Y-Class 2882s. 475 would be retired in 1956 with no real notability to its name other than harvesting 50 years of revenue service. Fortunately though, 475's career would continue into early excursion service. This new era of service included adding a large headlamp and eventually a diamond stack, reminiscent of its original as-built appearance. 475 would sometimes fill in on the Salem shifter train between 1957 and 58 as well. The locomotive would be chosen to represent N&W's older motive power for the City of Roanoke's 75th anniversary celebration in 1957 too. After that, in 1960, it was displayed in Roanoke. Over the course of several years, it changed owners and locations until ending up in storage at the Illinois Railway Museum in 1980. 2 years later, 475 was purchased by C. Rosenberg and other individuals. It was donated to the Boone and Scenic Valley Railroad in Iowa in 1985 and moved to the city of Boone for display in 1986. Finally, it ended up being purchased by the Strasburg Railroad in July of 1991 for $100,000. After being moved to its new home in Pennsylvania, it was restored to operational condition by November 6, 1993, where it would begin its new career pulling excursion passenger trains. Let's now fast forward to the year 1999. With production of Thomas and the Magic Railroad now underway, film producer Phil Farley called up then Strasburg Railroad President and Chief Mechanical Officer Lynn Moedinger, asking where he could find a locomotive to use in the movie. Moedinger asked what kind of locomotive he needed, and upon this question, Farley said that director Britt Allcroft greatly enjoyed the photos of famed photographer O. Winston Link. She particularly liked those of which featuring an N&W M-Class locomotive. Moedinger responded by saying Strasburg operated one in several wooden passenger cars, so with that said, a deal was quickly settled. During that year in August, Strasburg modified 475's tender to say Indian Valley for Shining Times Railroad. 3 coaches would get similar treatment to create the Rainbow Sun train, although only 2 coaches were used in the movie. A month later in September, film crews came to Strasburg. Throughout filming, Moedinger coordinated operations and gave suggestions to Allcroft and Farley regarding ways to improve the operation and authenticity of the train. Various running shots of the train were completed in Strasburg, mainly for Lily's trip to Shining Time. Soon enough though, on September 12th, 475 and its train, being run by Lynn Moedinger, made a 50-mile or so run along the old Pennsylvania Railroad main line to the Harrisburg Transportation Center. Along the way, tacked on the rear for protection, was an Amtrak locomotive. This potentially was P42DC number 111 seen in the reflection here, but that's just a guess. Another note is the whistle heard throughout the film isn't 475's normal N&W hooter whistle, rather it's Canadian National Railway 3254's 5-chime step-top whistle, but a bit out of tune. Back to 475, its move to Harrisburg was not publicized so as to not attract attention. While in Harrisburg, filming for the station scenes was completed in between Amtrak train arrivals. After filming was complete, 475 was topped off with water in Harrisburg but had enough coal for the trip back to Strasburg. With the Strasburg and Harrisburg stages of production now complete, 475 would eventually receive Norfolk and Western lettering on its tender again and resume its normal operations. So I think we now have our answer why Norfolk Western number 475 was featured in Thomas and the Magic Railroad, instead of the old representative for the Rainbow Sun being Union Pacific 844. 475 was chosen based on Britt Allcroft's liking towards the N&WM class, and luckily, the Strasburg Railroad came in to fill those needs. 475 continues operating at Strasburg, pulling passenger excursion trains along with the occasional revenue freight train. In the end though, thanks to the hard work of the Strasburg Railroad and all of those involved, we now have one of the most memorable moments in Thomas and the Magic Railroad. Thanks for watching, and thanks to everyone who submitted their own clips for use in this video. I really do appreciate it, as it does make these videos a lot easier to make, and with that said, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys in another video.